Begin questioning, and I'll recognize myself for 5 minutes. Administrator, if we could start with Clean Power Plan 2.0. The EPA recently finalized its greenhouse gas standards and guidelines for fossil fuel-fired power plants, and requiring coal-fired power plants that will operate past 2039 to install carbon capture infrastructure that achieves a 90% capture rate. If we talk about Section 111 of the Clean Air Act, how would you describe, in your words, what the term adequately demonstrated means, considering factors such as cost, non-air quality, health, and environmental impact and energy requirements? Again, adequately demonstrated seems to be somewhat subjective. How would you define it?
Well, I would define it in the way that we have defined it in this power sector rule, which is a technology that is available to reduce the targeted pollutants that we're after, or various technologies and best management practices that can do such. And so in this power sector rule, what you see is the opportunity for multiple technologies, but especially technologies like CCS that are receiving tax credits that the industry is investing heavily in, that we believe is competitive for reducing some of these climate pollutants.
Last week, when Ranking Member Senator Capito asked you to identify a coal-fired power plant that achieves a 90% capture rate, you didn't answer a question. Can you give us an example of a coal-fired plant in North America that adequately demonstrated a 90% capture rate over the life of its system's operation?
Well, I think we have plants that have the potential to do so. And again, this is a 90% capture rate in the future. There's a runway here for that. And so we have facilities like Petronova in Texas. We have facilities in Wyoming and North Dakota that are demonstrating at a very high proficiency rate that this is possible. So what we're looking at, again, is a runway to allow for this technology to thrive so that we can see these important reductions occur. And there are billions of dollars in the Inflation Reduction Act and the Bipartisan Infrastructure Law that lay the groundwork that utilities are currently taking advantage of to meet what we believe is a reasonable goal.
So should we add on there just potentially adequately demonstrated? I mean, you say there are examples of out there that have potential to do it, but there's not one out there.
Well, we have adequately demonstrated evidence that these carbon capture technologies work and can perform at high efficiency rates. The question is, which we have a runway far out, the stringency that the rule requires, there's time to develop a pathway to do that at that level.
Okay, I'm gonna take you for your word at that. If we could just go now to PM 2.5. We understand that the particulate matter standard will make it nearly impossible for new manufacturing projects, including EV battery plants. Most projects need at least 3 micrograms per cubic meter of headroom to obtain an air permit. We understand that the background concentration, the average throughout the nation is 8. With that revised standard, 89% of counties in the country now lack sufficient headroom for economic expansion. Prior to finalizing that rule, were you aware that this lack of permitting headroom would force almost 90% of the country into permitting gridlock, stopping new manufacturing?
I think we have a difference of opinion in terms of numbers. We project that when the PM NAAQS fully kicks in, 99% of counties will qualify for the levels that we've set.
How can there be that much of a difference between one side saying that almost 90% aren't going to be able to adhere to it, and you're saying 99% will be able to?
Yeah, we've modeled it out, and I would, like to
Can you share that model with us?
I'd love for our staff
Can I share an example with you? We have the single largest economic development project in the history of our state in my district, and it was approved before this rule went into effect. It's the Hyundai EV plant. We're very excited about it, very excited. A $5.5 billion investment, creating 8,100 jobs. But in my district, the background concentration is 7.3, and Hyundai estimates that it would increase the concentrations by 2.5. That would put them in violation. If they were applying for the permit now, they wouldn't get it.
Well, I'd love to talk to specifics about plants themselves, because I think when you're looking backwards, yes, they've applied for a permit, they've qualified, they're there. Looking forward at the new standard, again, we've modeled this out. 99% of counties in this country will meet that standard. So there's 1% out there that we have to engage with. I would really love for our staffs to talk and engage in this conversation because, as you pointed out, there's a big gap between the stats we're talking about and the stats.
There's a big gap, and look, we're excited about this, and it would not have happened under these new rules. That's just one example there. I'm out of time. I'm going to move on. At this